public input. Firstly, I'll just let you know of a public input that I declined, and that is from the Auckland Festival of Photography, Julia Durkin. The reason I declined it is because we're obviously going through the application process and approvals for funding that she receives, and it wasn't the right thing to do to accept one, because then we would have had to accept the rest. So that's the one I've declined. There are, however, another, this is our Pacific Music Awards. Malo lava Patrina, malo sui fua. Welcome. Please, if you would come up to the front. I think, yeah, David's going to be alongside you, just in case there's some hard questions to be asked and you get interrogated by the committee. So, Patrina, welcome. And this is around Pacific Music Awards. All yours.
Talo for love, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Wonderful to see you in person, and thank you so much to Alf and the team for just the invitation and the opportunity to speak. So my name is Patrina Tongi-Saina, and I'm here on behalf of the Pacific Music Awards Trust and our Pacific music community, just to share about our awards this year and our experience, and also to particularly thank you on behalf of everyone for your support. We've had a great long-term relationship with Council, and it's really significant to us. As you would understand, the number of factors that are involved in an event, but particularly obviously financial, that we simply cannot go ahead without that financial support. So first of all is a thank you from our trust, our community, and all the artists that we work with for your long-term support. I thought just a little bit of history in case, for those who don't know, just in terms of how long we've been existing. So our first awards was presented in 2005. We had 6 awards. We were part of the Pacifica Festival, so we were just attached to an event. And then since 2006, we've been a standalone independent event. And we've been held at formerly the Telstra Clear Centre, now Vodafone Event Centre, since 2006. We were formalised as a trust 2007. And essentially 3 of the 5 are the same core trustees who've had a sustained team over that time presenting the event. So 2020, we have 19 awards with presentations and live performances. It's a solid 3-hour-ish event. We've been at the arena within Vodafone Event Centre, so 1,500 people attend. We live stream, we have great online content, so our reach is quite significant now as compared to 2005. Core for us is the celebration of our Pacific artists, their music, their families, their communities. We acknowledge music, all genres, all ethnicities, all languages, and it's just a pure celebration of our community that comes together on that night. We're really proud of the event that we've developed and how we've grown over this time, and key for us is that it is a family community event. I've worked in the music industry for over 25 years, so I go through a number of things, and I can truly say that our event is like no other. One core thing for us is that our artists literally bring their families, their parents, their grandparents, their children. Everyone is there with them to celebrate, and yeah, they share that beautiful celebration together, and as a community we come together. And so 2020, like for many, was not the year that we all expected. So in February, we're all set, judging was completed, ready to announce finalists in March. And then of course, March arrived and things had to all change. So like everyone, we needed to adjust, and we had to move and postpone the plans that we had in place. So we were at that time announcing finalists end of March with an end of May event, and everything was in place, but then we all had to make that change. So we moved to a key decision for us was, do we continue? And the trust was a resounding yes, we do. We want to celebrate our artists, maintain the work we've done, but we weren't actually sure how at that time, but we persevered. So our creative team jumped in and we did our first online announcement of finalists, made in lockdown remotely. And so that was our first sort of step back into the public, and that was end of April, so things shifted. And then at that time, we couldn't say when the ceremony would happen. We just had to be, okay, we want to do this, we're not sure how, and we'll let you know when it will be. So in that next period was working with our sponsors and funders and renegotiating and working out that new plan. And again, thanks to Council for maintaining that support for us. Other sponsors had to, we understood, either reduce or remove their support. And initially we'd lost 50% of income, and then over the next few months recovered another 25. So there's a lot of work financially to just recover and prepare. And then we're all set to do a smaller live event, maintaining at Vodafone Event Centre. So key to us was to also maintain that support on the other side for our production teams, our venues, all our creatives that work with us. We wanted to continue to work with them, even though we were going to scale down. So we returned to the theatre. Plans were underway. We'd announced still for a live event end of September. And then, of course, another cluster in level 2 and things changed. So again, we had to make a big decision and move the event online. So key for us, I mean, I think everyone would understand those decisions in terms of responsibility for our community. I think whilst we were allowed to do certain things, it was really hard for us to say, should we do this? Is this the right thing at that time to host an event in South Auckland for our community and bring people together? And we were even thinking no before the level 2 came. So yeah, so we moved with that. With the support of Sunpix and the Tangata Pacifica team, we could film everything we had planned. So we still had live performances, we had award presentations, we had 100 people on site, and we did everything in terms of the most safest and, oh, I haven't clicked on this thing yet. I've got some photos to share. Maybe you will. What happens here? Is this the clicker? Okay. We'll just have some, I thought I'd just share some visuals so you could see. So key for us, because everything was in place in the nature of the decision, we could still have all the elements of a ceremony, even though there was no audience or very little people there. So I'll just share some of the content with you. And for our artists, they were still celebrated and acknowledged. Key for us in terms of this decision about what was best, it was us speaking to our community, speaking to our artists and asking them, and they all asked us to continue. And I think, yeah, that now obviously in hindsight you can see that we did make that right call. And for all the artists that we acknowledged that they were celebrated, their families could still share with them whilst it was remote. It was still a celebration that we could all participate in. What else have I got here? Yeah, so I think it's that continuity. So for the trust, it was, yeah, can we still host the awards? Can we still do it on a smaller scale? And is this going to be the right decision for our community? And in the end, everything was yes, and we're really happy with the results. And with being online, one of the positives, so we've just checked the stats, so we're at 60,000 views now. So on a usual event, I mean, that's way more views than we've had before. The content also has remained online, so people can still watch it. All the performances are available, so we've been able to share the celebration wider, potentially, than we may have had before. So as you can see, the range of music, yeah, definitely the depth of talent that we have in the Pacific community is huge. So the easiest job for us is to have the event because we've got such a wonderful community to support. And also in terms of the environment that we're in, we also could see how important this was to our artists to have a positive celebration, to come together in such a hard year that's been so hard, particularly for the music industry, just to have something to celebrate, a moment to just pause and just to come together. So essentially, that is our awards. And there is just some links to share in case anyone hasn't seen it and would like to do that. And thank you again for having me.
Patrina, thank you. Look, I'm going to open up to any questions, but firstly, I just want to say thank you to Councillor Bartley. who represented council at the awards. And the reason she was chosen is because she was the best looking and the youngest out of everybody around this table. So Josephine, thank you so much for doing that for us. Patrina, what is the council's award that we sponsor, please?
Yes, so it is the Best Pacific Female Artist Award, which is a wonderful award to sponsor and also acknowledged as our event sponsor overall.
Awesome. So look, are there any questions? No? So Patrina, thank you. I know you've been involved. Yeah?
I only have a comment. Not a
Yeah,
question.
no, sweet if we can, and then, yeah, sweet.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for this opportunity to hear from Patrina. I want to acknowledge your work over the years, Patrina, with our Pacific music artists and supporting them throughout, not just this year, which was very hard. And the comments I picked up from the artists was they really appreciated the opportunity to continue to perform. Because for them it was about expression and connecting with an audience, connecting with others, but also what music does for our community, especially with the issues of lockdown. Music was that connector for a lot of people. So it is a privilege to represent Auckland Council at the awards, but also to be part of Pacific Music award ceremony and the trust. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to represent Council there, and thank you, Patrina, for your work and the trust. And thank you, Council Events as well, David. Thank you.
So look, if there's no further questions, Josephine will move, Kathy will second. So I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Whaftai Patrina, and look forward, for the next few years, at least. Thank you. Thank you, David. Our next public input, Te Kura Māori o ngā tapuai. A tēnā kōrua. Tēnā koe te rangatira arehia a ngā mihi ki a koe. Moto aroha. Nau mai, haere mai, whakatau mai. Tēnā koe, Lauren. Ngā mihi ki a koe and tēnā kōrua. So look, you've got 5 to 20 minutes, and then we've got questions, and well, not 20 minutes, but I thought I'd say that. But look, I'll just leave it to you both, and again, just want to acknowledge Arahi, your mahi that you've done, and I know your connection to Ngā Tapuai goes back many, many years, but more importantly, you and Lauren, and the connection to our kapahaka secondary schools one goes back a few years as well. So ngā mihi kia kōrua. Kia ora.
Ngā mihi o te wā kia koutou katoa, ngā mihi hoki kia koe te rangatira i whakatūwhera te tahi wā hei kōrero mā tāua. Mā Māui i tēnei wā he mihi kauna kia koutou, ngā kaimahi o te kaunihira, nā reira tēnā koutou katoa. Ko ai ahau, ko Arihi Sterling ahau, no te whanua puni, Ngai Tahu, Ngāti Porau, Ngāti Whātua. Nā reire, me mihi kawana kia koutou katoa, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Thank you for giving me my 5 minutes. I've got my stopwatch ready to go. I'm a teacher by nature, so I know how to keep on time. But I'd also like to take the opportunity to express my gratitude to my Pacific sisters and brothers that presented before me, because without us, we are unable to showcase ourselves as a really integral part of Tāmaki Makaurau. The Pacific Awards well, and I support and advocate for them as well, for our funding to be supported. While I'm here, I just want to ask one question. It's a good one. It's my teacher, tenacity. How many of the counsellors have actually been to a Māori kapahaka competition? Could you put your hand up if you've actually been to a Māori kapahaka competition in Auckland? Awesome, thank you. So I do talk to people that know what I'm saying. Thank you. So I just want to start now with a little bit of background, and I'll put my start bit on. The name of, with the look at the overview for 2019. So Te Ahurea Tino Rangatira means the expression of my supreme culture. Basically, that's what it is. And we're just wanting to put a video on being a teacher. You know, I'm trying to be a digital native here. So that's basically just giving a snapshot of what this competition represents for our community. So it's a the competition was established in 1996. It's our 25th year next year. It's hosted by all different Auckland schools. And the reason for that is that's taking our culture into schools, and we really encourage schools that don't have strong Māori affiliations or standings to get them to take our competition to schools, so that it showcases Māori culture in schools that are not necessarily have strong Māori communities. So next year's host is actually Westlake Boys. So Westlake Boys and Girls are co-hosting it, and it's really neat. One of our values for our organising committee is to ensure that we reach out to our community and the diversity, and show our communities what Māori are in our normal lives. These are who we are in an expression of our culture. It's a 2-day event. It's extremely whānau focused. And from that competition, 2 schools from that competition are able to represent Auckland at the Nationals. A group's complete for the following aggregate awards. So entrance, exit, traditional waiata, a song, an action song, a dance, a poi dance, and a traditional haka. And then the coveted, most important aggregate award is how well we print the pronunciation of our language and the grammar, the correct way of speaking Māori. Last year, we were privileged enough to have our competition be hosted by Aorere College. Once again, the main point of us. So the competition actually is mainly small Māori schools and other schools that are learning to grow into the world of kapahaka. So it's a little bit intimidating going straight to Polyfest, which is the other large kapahaka competition. So this is another way of getting in a smaller crowd, but feeling a little bit safer on the Māori stage. So we have last year we had 500 participants, 1,500 at the last click that we remembered before it rained really badly and everyone stopped clicking and just went and kept dry. It was really impeded, the attendance was impeded by the rain, but we still had a fantastic time. 14 judges, 50 plus volunteers. Our objects is to showcase our culture and our language and maintain the traditional art forms. It's not a competition that you can go out and express yourself inside our Māori art, performing arts. It's actually maintaining traditional art forms in the competition. It's an opportunity for all ethnicities to experience our culture. So we really very purposeful in taking our competitions to where there is stronger ethnic groups that aren't Māori. And the main purpose of that is to showcase ourselves to our ethnic brothers and sisters, and this is us, this is Māori, this is tangata whenua. Opportunities for students to perform on another occasion, because there's only 2 areas for senior students to perform in Auckland, and it's the Polyfest and then our little one. Why do we have ours at the end of the year? Because I was part and parcel of hosting and organising Polyfest for many years before we were actually the school that handed it over to the ASB grounds over there. And found that sponsor. But the issue there now is that I feel as a teacher of 35 years, trying to jam a whole performance into 6 weeks and expecting kids to come out, the education experience to come out the other end of that well, is not a good idea. So that's just me speaking as a teacher. So that's why we've put our competition into October to allow it to go right across the year, much easier on teachers to learn a bracket than 6 weeks. Because the Māori child always misses, they'll go for the culture and they'll forget their education, and it's very stressful to get them all back to the right place again. So that's the reason for that. Opportunities to ensure that they have a public performing area to validate their performing arts credits, and also to validate their NCA programs in Te Reo Māori. Another thing, an opportunity for us to profile our culture, to invite people to sponsor feel-good factors for our community. Really interested in stakeholderships, particularly teenagers, the use of the education experience in something that's a joy factor for our kids, which is performing their culture. The catalyst for greater things in either a Māori realm via the stage presence or in a performing arts place. We have become really urgent about fitness and health, particularly for our own children. And one of the things that, you know, for us as Māori, some of the best, well, the worst health statistics in our people resides. So this is another way of getting our children to be fit. So we run a fitness program for the whole year to perform. So you've seen some of their performance. It's pretty, you know, it just makes me tired and I'm watching it. Increase in community engagement. This one is a big one for us. Last year, with the most terrifying day on March the 15th, it really actually hit the Māori community really in our hearts and souls for what happened to our Muslim brothers and sisters. So we reached out to Al Medina and Zayed colleges, which are the local Muslim schools. And through that, we invited them to come and be part of this competition. Through that, though, there's now become a big wraparound system from our Māori schools. So my school and another 2 schools down the road provide Māori programs for both schools as a voluntary service to them. They come to our schools to have a cultural experience, and that's been a great opportunity for us to share our culture in a meaningful and positive way. Outside of that, it's really important that Māori students in these competitions are bi or tricultural, come with a number of ethnicities, and it's really important for us to celebrate all of those things in a community festive day out with families. So we do target, we make no explanation for that, but we do target support groups that provide food and other wear through our Pacific Island community. So what it does is it shows that we can expose our culture to all our different people, ethnicities in our city, but everybody else can serve. And generally during the breaks, or that for when the judges go to breaks, we have a Pacific a cultural performance, and it's another opportunity for us to show that we are one community. So we're very much community orientated. What else have we got there? Fundraising, of course, fundraising for our communities. It's a cultural event for us. It's enormous. It's another opportunity for us to promote our language and keep our language strong. It helps the opportunity for our students to become songwriters and have leadership roles in a number of the positions and partaking for audiences and their families. You need to understand with this competition, this is an extreme family event. If your grandmother or your grandfather or your granddaunts and uncles aren't performing, then you are not doing the best for yourself. If your brothers and sisters aren't there, if your aunties and uncles aren't there, you've let the family down. So it's a very, very specifically aimed event for families. I want to thank the Kaunihira, the council, very much for the $25,000 contribution. It takes great burden off us trying to maintain a stage. Just our sound system alone is $15,000. When you're a little school like me, which only has 300 students and only have 100 senior students, to hold a competition like this puts a lot of stress on a community. So the stage is worth about $27,000, so we get just about all of it. It's pivotal. Your support is pivotal to the existence of this competition and communities that need to see us. If we want to showcase ourselves in our Māori world, we're AFUP, but the point of this contest and competition is to get out and showcase the rest of us to people that don't normally know us. So we desperately need your contribution. So just giving it was cancelled this year. We were, as a exec committee, we decided quite early on, because we did not want the kids stressed out about having to have a performance that they weren't sure whether they were going to have. So we decided quite early to call on that, and rightly so, because during the time that we usually have the competition, we had another lockdown. So we were smart. We're a smart committee council. We spend we're wise in where we put our support. So we were able to dodge the COVID challenge for us. Like I said before, Westlake Boys and Girls will be co-hosting this competition in 2021. It's imperative that competition goes ahead. As an organising committee, the $25,000 that you give us doesn't go directly to the school. We decide where they need it, so they've got to stump up $60,000 before they get this extra support. So I just want to thank you very much. And I also say that we are hosting the National Schools Competition in Auckland in 2022, so it's another big event that we will be coming to you for extra support. I'll just put that out there. Koe ranono. So thank you for your time. Kei a koe.
Oh, just a huge thank you for coming. And to Petrina before you, today we've got grants as well, and it just brings them to life. It tells us that what we're doing in granting the money is really, really important to your community. And that was just, we don't get a lot of joy in this job, and that was just, those two presentations were just uplifting. Thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll fund you again. But I'm just one vote.
If there's nothing further, here, look, ngā mihi ki a koe. I want to acknowledge your parents. And the reason I acknowledge your parents is because of the work that they've done with kapahaka. Not only kapahaka, but just Māori. So I want to acknowledge them. And, you know, it's just so cool to see that you're carrying on that legacy. Lauren, thank you for the communication that we've had, not only but the three-way. So look, I'm going to ask if Richard, if he would move this one, and Angela, if you could second this, that'd be great. So if there's no further, again, I just wanted to acknowledge you both, and please pass it on to Dad. Okay. Well, if there's no further, I'm going to put the recommendation. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Ngā mihi.
Thanks so much for your time.
I know that we'll catch up with time because of the items that we have. So the next one here is Kirsten. Kirsten, thank you, and Timothy. Again to you both. Look, thank you for coming through and just meeting us briefly, but it was important that you be here and for the committee to see who you are and who you are both, but also for the work at the Art Gallery. So nau mai, haere mai, whakatau mai. And I'll hand it over to you both. Tēnā korua.
Am I on? I am. Chair, Deputy Mayor, Councillors, tēnā koutou. Ko Dandenong te Mona, ko Bass te Moana, ko Poipiripi te whenua, ko te Papaka o Maui te Motu, ko Kirsten Lacey tako ingoa. Kia ora. So, I'm here to talk to you about Toi Tū Toi Ora and to acknowledge your support of what is a history-making exhibition event for Auckland, Tamaki and Toyo Tamaki. This project launched with the support of the Mayor, and a number of councillors were present, thank you also, last Friday night, also with Minister Sepuloni present, to an audience of 800. It was a wonderful coming together of community and civic leadership, and the gallery stands in service of the community at this time with this exhibition. Toi Tū Toi Ora celebrates 75 years of contemporary Māori art. It's the largest exhibition Toyo Tamaki has ever held in its 130-year history. It's the first major survey of Māori art for over 20 years. It's been a long time coming, and we're absolutely delighted that we've been able to present it here in Tamaki. It was programmed for this year as a major exhibition, and as a result of COVID in March, we decided to triple its size. And you came on board to support that ambition. And with your support, we were able to leverage exceptional private and philanthropic support as well. As a result, we've presented over 300 artworks and represented the work of 111 Māori artists across 3 floors of the building, 27 exhibition spaces. In the first week, we have had, or in the first 3 days, I should say, 6,000 members of the community through the exhibition. We've been really delighted with those numbers. In fact, Saturday was the busiest day that the gallery's ever had since July 2018. Given we've been closed for in total 90 days of the year, and the CBD is working hard to bring people back into the city, we're delighted with this outcome and the impact that it has on businesses and community around the CBD of Auckland. On Saturday, it was a public launch and party to 9 o'clock. And then on Tuesday, we hosted 140 educators at the gallery for a professional development day. Part of the work that you've enabled has been that the gallery has become bilingual for the first time. So all of the content that we have developed, over 80,000 English words, are also presented in te reo across the exhibition spaces. I might also mention that there's a second site at Britomart with 4 artists presented there as well. We've commissioned 9 new works and showcased the gallery's collection, as well as sought and loans from over 40 different lenders around Aotearoa to bring the exhibition to life. We've employed 9 new Māori staff to provide te reo language and English tours to visitors over the next 5 months of the exhibition. Last night, we hosted 300 of the families of America's Cup so that they might share a word with the world about the art of Aotearoa. On Friday night, we host the Tiatanga Fashion Showcase, which will present a dozen of Māori fashion designers on our beautiful North Terrace. What you're seeing here is some images from the Dawn Blessing, where we were well supported by Mana Whenua and Ngāti Whātua to bless the gallery spaces. Also, you're seeing the week that began with the staff, 80 of the Auckland Art Gallery staff being welcomed to Arake by Ngāti Whātua. For us going forward with this exhibition, it's our hope to ensure that the gallery maintains a strong bilingual presence within the building and all of its resource development. And we are now beginning work on our forward language plan and reviewing in the new year our Māori engagement work. That's really all, Chair, I wanted to share with you at this point, just that the exhibition is open. We very much would love to host each of you for a private tour with me and our curatorial team and take you through the exhibition. It will have a life beyond May because we've been working closely with Māori filmmaker Chelsea Winstanley on a feature-length documentary which chronicles the development of this exhibition and the making of artwork throughout 2020 by artists up and down the country. It's also our ambition to share the exhibition as a touring project abroad, once, of course, we're able to, 22 onwards. Thank you.
Tēnā koe, Kirsten. Timothy, anything to add? No? Ka pai. Christine.
Morena, Kirsten, it's just fantastic to hear this news because at the conclusion of a really difficult year that you have been able to, with the team and the whānau, create something that is truly historic for Tamaki Makaurau is just, I mean, it's amazing. I've got a couple of queries. One is that there are so many ways in which council and the arms of council can assist. And clearly this is the most significant committee for shaping policy. But how might we better improve our relationship? I mean, I think we're really mindful at the moment with the emergence of Auckland Unlimited that we don't lose that momentum with the arts and cultural sector. And the second part to my question is you play a really pivotal role with the rebuilding of public confidence in the downtown, the Auckland civic areas. Are there ways in which we can help support you? I know Heart of the City are doing lots of work and you're working with them, but how can we better work with you to, you know, this is historic stuff and this is at the real heart of our commitment to biculturalism. So what advice would you give us as a committee?
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher, for your questions. The work of the Māori Outcomes Grant is extraordinary. We were able to present the exhibition without those funds. We weren't able to take it out into community and bring schools to the gallery and support the buses and all the educational resources and the online engagement, nor expand our staffing caucus to service audiences in engagement with the exhibition without it. So the extension as a result of that grant is extraordinary, and it's also really given us a platform on which to develop much, much, much deeper mana whenua relationships, which are going to and are serving to shape and change the institution, which is timely. So that would be the first thing I would say. Secondly, you do support us in your energy and your time through this committee, in your presence and interest in your advocacy of us, and just to know that the council sees the important role that the Auckland Art Gallery plays in Tamaki's cultural, social and economic life is of great heart and benefit to us. I think you're right. The gallery's role is absolutely to restore public confidence. We're one of the most trusted public brands in the CBD, and we're one of the few inspiring, freely accessible public spaces that can be a refuge for people and a space to come together, talk, share and tackle the issues that are facing the community today. And that's the role of the institution, and our vehicle is through art. The last thing I would say is the collection, the collection, the collection. It's so important that Aotearoa has a national collection that represents its people, the most significant collection that represents the people of Aotearoa is held at the Auckland Art Gallery. Through this exhibition and other work, and also our international collections and collecting work, we are able to share not only New Zealand art with the world, but right now, moments like this, the world with the people of Aotearoa and Auckland. So I would suggest that you do not forget the importance of leaving a legacy of this century. We're in its third decade for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And my apologies for calling you Christine. And it should have been Councillor Fletcher. So apologies.
But if you're going to be informal, I encourage you to do that, but call me Chris. I'm only Christine
Okay,
when I'm in
thank you.
trouble.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Casey.
But yeah, Kirsten, as you probably know, I was born in Scotland, and one of my favourite words is free. And one of the words you need to insert into this introduction to the exhibition is that it's free of charge and anybody can walk in off the street and see it. Fantastic. Yes, 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 yes. I would love the curated tour, but instead of doing 21, I'm happy to team up with colleagues who want to go over there. I'll have you, oh good, Linda's our organiser. So yeah, absolutely be fantastic. Thank you so much.
That's all, I think. We're good. I have got some peripheral material. Oh, sorry.
Look, if you've got any comment, there's still two more councillors that wish to ask you questions, but if you have a comment, that's fine. I'd rather hear the comment and then I'll go to the councillors. So you're right?
Please proceed.
Okay then. So Councillor Darby and then Councillor Bartley. And I think that'll be it.
Welcome to our place, and I look forward to getting to your place very soon. It's just been a pretty busy last few months. Hey, just I wouldn't mind just you taking us through the relationship between, say, the gallery and our public art program. And you may not be aware, but we've, due to budget constraints, we've actually demolished the public art program by 70%. So those great sculptures and other public artworks that are an expression of who we are as a city, they won't be showing up as we expected. So can you, and I'm sure you'll give us some feedback on that, but can you maybe just explain the relationship between the gallery and maybe the importance or otherwise of our public art program? How does this all work together through your eyes?
The public art, thank you for your question. The Public Art Committee is completely separate and independent from the Auckland Art Gallery, and we have little, if anything, to do with the program. So that's the first thing I would say, other than to be supporters and fans of the work that they've done, and attended, some of the events around launches of new works. What I did want to mention, though, is we are launching a major sculpture at the front of the building in April. It is a work which has been commissioned as part of Toi Tu Toi Ora by a Māori artist called Ruben Patterson. It's a monolithic work, and it's entirely funded privately, $1.2 million, by the Edmiston Trust. And council have been involved in as far as the planning permissions have been required and needed, and engineering and legal support, which has been fantastic because the contracts around the fabrication of this work have been complex. The work itself is a 14-metre high crystal waka that will stand in our moat at the front of the building from the ground up until the roof line. And refract light all over the forecourt of the front of the building. So a beautiful work to be launching, and I wanted to share that with you because I can feel the pain that other works might not be happening. There will still be some things. Also, we've launched down at Britomart 4 public works that are funded through Cooper, and that's part of the Toi Tu Toi Ora project as well. So those works were launched on Thursday morning, so you can have a look at them as well. Doesn't make up for the broader program, but...
So there's two more questions, or one more added. Pardon?
Yeah, aye, Toi.
Toi.
So I'll go to Councillor Bartley, then I think Councillor Hills, and then, so Councillor Bartley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Kirsten and Timothy, for coming here today and talking to us about the art gallery. I took up the offer thanks to Timothy, who I met at a party, and he suggested that I go and visit the gallery, so I did, and thank you for my personal tour. So I got to know a lot about what the gallery is doing. I don't have a question, but I just wanted to comment about how awesome it is to see what the gallery is doing, and not only during the lockdown where you kept arts going, you kept it visual and visible and accessible to people to access online. But I like how, I mean, I'm not being mean, but I like how you're taking away how it's kind of seen as bougie by some people. And so because they see it as that, they don't connect with it as much. And I like how you're really opening it up. I love that this, you've got toi tu, toi ora, you know, and also that connection that you know, of course, to acknowledge because this is Aotearoa, and you have this exhibition there. I also love how you're going to connect with America's Cup, because that will give America's Cup that face of Auckland and also our Māori culture. Also, the partnerships that you have and the understanding that you have of the financial context of the council and being able to go and secure, you know, 1.2 million for the artworks. I also appreciate how the gallery has exhibitions, you know, of our past, but also brings in the issues of today, like your climate change production that you had in that orange case, which kind of freaked me out, but I get it. You know, the message was there about climate change. And yeah, what else did I have here? Arts. And also just how you, you know, you keep the arts going in the centre, and you're so open about this being for everyone. And, you know, everyone needs to understand that this is their art gallery. Go down and check it out in the city. Catch a bus and go check it out, because it is for everybody. But it also shows the importance that art has in our recovery with COVID. It isn't just about shovel-ready construction projects. This shows, you know, arts are so important for us as people and for our souls and for our minds. So I really applaud the work that you're doing, and I'm grateful that I took that opportunity to go and check it out. So thank you.
Thank you, Kia ora. Thank you, Councillor.
So to finish it, the questions, Kirsten and Timothy, I'll ask Councillor Hills.
I wasn't sure if, I think Pippa had her hand up before me, I don't. Oh, cool. And thank you, Chair. And sorry, I just have a comment too. Thanks, Kirsten. I think I really enjoyed the little tour we had with the new local MP for the area, and Pippa Coombe. It was awesome to see the climate change work you were doing at the time. And I'm sorry I couldn't make the Friday opening, but honestly, I think every Snapchat and Instagram story I saw or on Twitter on Friday was all the art gallery. So I think I've seen the whole exhibition through my phone, which is pretty amazing, and shows I think, to Councillor Bartley's comments, the diverse range of people that are attracted to and are interested in the art gallery. Because I admit that when I was a councillor, I wasn't that interested in, I didn't think it was that accessible for everyone, and now it definitely is. The exhibitions over the last few years, but definitely toi ora, I think, is a phenomenal from what I've heard about. And I've gone and seen the works at Britomart, and those were, like you say, privately funded, not publicly. And I think that conversation we had when we increased the funding a couple years ago was that it was so important for council to fund the bricks and mortar and stationery and those types of things, so you could access that philanthropic and private funding, because people, that's not attractive for them to be funding the insurance or security or whatever, you know. So I hope you'll give feedback when you need to ensure that money's there to grow what you're doing. But I just want to say thank you for opening up the art gallery even further. I mean, during Pride, and I know you're planning again next year, having Vogue balls and Fash Swag and others in there, like owning that space where I don't think that we've really ensured that everyone feels welcome, and I know that it's definitely changed. So with this exhibition, and maybe COVID's been a catalyst for expanding it, but I think it's really exciting to see. So thank you so much, and I think you'll get a whole new generation of people coming through the gallery now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so look, we're just going to add a B there, and that was through Councillor Fletcher. There's the B. It's just to recognise the historical significance of Toi Tu, Toi Ora, Contemporary Māori Art Exhibition. So, Councillors Coombe and Fletcher will be moving and seconding these two recommendations. So if there's no further questions, I'm going to put the recommendations. Thank you so much. We've already got an email from Councillor Cooper asking to organise a tour. And so if you can work through, we'll work through you, Timothy, and that's both Joseph and Maya, and then see how much interest, and then we can then organise the tour. So again, to you both, all the best for Christmas, the break with whānau, and thank you. So I'm going to put the recommendation. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Tēnā korua.
Tēnā koutou. Kia ora. Thank you. Thank you.
Local board input. Member Harry Doige will be